Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, a history of the Abowds with Charlie and Karen. Charlie's now an author. They're here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Remember 2010 in northern Nevada, 13 to 14% unemployment, thousands of homes in foreclosure, Nevada's casinos closing? Families in the Reno-Sparks area were hurting. Many were losing everything. Then Story County launched a game changer for our region, a public-private industrial partnership, streamlined permitting, slashed bureaucracy, attracting Fortune 500 companies that made Nevada their home. Story County generated a river of cash to area communities. Economic studies by the state and others for the Gigafactory consistently show positive economic benefits for our region. $4 billion in local wages, $17 billion in consumer spending and economic activity, over $100 million in taxes to Washoe, Story, Reno, Sparks, and Nevada, just for the Gigafactory alone. Story County, improving northern Nevada one industry at a time.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Coverage of the 2023 legislative session is brought to you by Liberty Dental Plan, making members shine one smile at a time. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. The Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. And by Nevada Builders Alliance, building a better Nevada.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Bank Saloon down in Carson City, and delighted to be joined by Charlie and Karen Abowd. Charlie is now author, and Karen runs the Greenhouse Project. It's a pleasure to have you both here. The book is called Recipes and Rambles That Made Adele's a Nevada Hotspot, 40 Years of Cuisine and History as told by Chef Charlie Abowd and written by Charlie and Karel Ancona. I want to start going way back. Where and when did you two meet?
Oh, it was a blind date. Our sisters set us up. We were in high school. And so first of all, I should back up before that. Charlie's brother, I was working at a toy store, and it happened to be Christmas time, and we dressed in pixie outfits then. And so Charlie's brother drives Charlie to the toy store, Pixie Palace, and goes in to scope me out. And he comes back into the car and tells Charlie, well, a little different than what you're used to dating, but potential.
I guess that potential kind of worked out. Now, this is in Oakland?
No, this is in San Jose, California.
In San Jose?
San Jose.
Yeah.
Okay. Had your dad started a restaurant yet at that point?
At that time, he was working as a general manager at a restaurant in San Jose called the Plateau 7. And actually, that kind of pricked his interest, more of getting involved with politics, and tie that into the business because it was a hot spot in downtown San Jose. It was on the top floor of what was called the Swenson, Carl N. Swenson building. And so we were deeply involved in the San Jose. I went to school there, City College, and Bellarmine. Karen went to Presentation High School.
All right, so
Santa Clara.
When did your dad open his first restaurant, and were you involved in that at all as a kid?
Well, actually, it was in the 50s, and it was a family restaurant. It was downtown San Francisco on Market Street. And they were named, they're little hamburger places. This was during the war, so meat was being limited. Rationed, as I guess you would say. So, there was the beginning days of White Castle And in fact, the name of the restaurant, one of them was Snow White's. And then the other one was called, I can't remember. But anyhow, they had 3 restaurants on Market Street. And in fact, there's a great photo in here of my dad walking down Market Street. Obviously, he looks buff. He looks like a movie star, actually. And he's walking right down the street like he owned Market Street. It's a fantastic picture of my dad. And that's where he met my mom. She came in to the restaurant and bing!
And for those that don't know, this was the Adele,
That's
the restaurant
that's
was named
Adele,
after.
yeah.
Okay, so Karen, when did everybody move to Nevada?
Well, let me think about that. Raquel was what, about 2 or 3?
Right.
When they moved to Nevada. And so I'm going to say, well,
I
the
can
restaurant
tell you,
was 40 years. It was more than that, 40, 42,
actually, it was
43?
1977.
There you go. Thank you. So
Yeah.
that's when they moved to
Yeah.
Nevada.
Okay, and to Carson City initially?
And to Carson City. My mom and dad, at that point, 1977, actually started 76, thought that California was getting too crowded.
Little did she
How
know.
many millions more since then?
Yeah.
Anyhow, they were looking to move out of the congestion of the Santa Clara Valley, even though, we're from and raised in the Bay Area, but he wanted to move. Somebody, a friend of a friend, contacted my mom and says, you should come up to Carson City and look at this building that's for sale, which ended up being Adele's. And so they bought it in 77. I came up because at that time I was actually building homes down in Santa Cruz. And so we brought myself and some of my people I was working with in the construction business, and we started converting what was at that time the Music Box into my mom and dad's restaurant.
There's an irony that I've picked up on in recent years, because I was terrible in shop as a kid. But there are so many connections between cooking and carpentry, right?
Right.
I mean, it's really extraordinary, and I think I could probably go back into carpentry and actually learn something and do something with it now. But it is kind of interesting. When did you first decide that you wanted to get involved in the cooking side?
Well, actually, I started as a young boy, going with my dad to the restaurant. So then that's kind of how I ended up, for a short period of time, getting into the construction business, because it was like, okay, am I doing this because I'm 4th generation, or is this something that I really like to do? So, and I had a good opportunity to get into the construction business because the family that owned the building where my dad was managing the restaurant, the Plateau 7, owned a very large construction company in the Santa Clara Valley, built some of the biggest buildings at that time. So I went in as a carpenter's apprentice. And so I did that for a while. Came up here, helped my mom and dad open up the restaurant, and I got an opportunity based upon my experience in the restaurant business to move up to Seattle and work in the construction business and helping a corporation that had a number of restaurants downtown Seattle that were in Chapter 11. So, and typical of a Chapter 11 situation, your goal is to either sell it. Typically your number one goal is to sell it to get the creditors taken care of, and that's what we did. And talking back and forth to my mom and dad, and my mom says, hey, look, this place in Carson City is a lot more than we had expected. It was supposed to be just a little laid back restaurant and for their retirement. And so if you're thinking about changing, why don't you consider coming down here and helping us out? And that's what brought us back to Carson City, and that was 1981.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll move into another era after this time out.
Come join the month-long celebration during the Carson Valley Inn 13th Anniversary Giveaways with guaranteed $1,000 winners every drawing night and a $13,000 grand prize winner guaranteed. Come celebrate with us during the 13th Anniversary Giveaways at the Carson Valley Inn.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
The Do It Right guys at Nevada Heating have one mission. Your furnace breaks down today, we fix it today. Why freeze for days while your furnace is down when Nevada Heating can get the job done today and you can get warm again? For nearly 50 years, locally owned Nevada Heating has been getting the job done right. Call today at 323-5585 and we'll fix it today. That's 323-5585 or online at nevadaheating.com.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
It's the Lucky Lexus Cash and Free Play giveaways at Tamarack. Weekly cash and free play winners plus a $20,000 cash winner guarantee. And drive home a brand new Lexus NX30 or walk away with $42,500 in cash. It's a good time to win at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Charlie and Karen Abowd. Charlie has written a book along with Carol and Kana called Recipes and Rambles That Made Adele's a Nevada Hotspot, 40 Years of Cuisine and History, as told by Chef Charlie Abowd. It's available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon. June 10th is when it'll be, oh, that's your next
That's our next signing.
But the book is, you can go ahead and pre-order it now.
Yeah.
You can pre-order now. I'm fairly confident by the end of mid-May to the end of May, we will have books in our hands personally. We have a date already set, June 10th, but I want to do a date before the end of the legislature because there's so many great political stories in here. We've got the foreword and the postmortem was written by John Ralston, and I got great stories from Pete Ernott and Don Carlson, the Swingali of Nevada politics, and or as I call them, the Swingali of Nevada politics. And so I want to get these books out and have a signing somewhere downtown, probably at Piazza. So the legislators and lobbyists can get them before they go back down.
Absolutely. And Facebook is a great place to keep up with you guys and what you're doing with all of this. So let's go back and talk about, you said that the restaurants in the Bay Area were a place of influence. When did Carson City suddenly become a place of influence for the political world? Was it just because there weren't that many restaurants and this was an exceptional restaurant?
You know, I think there's a little story in there from my sister Colette, and my mom always, she's a San Francisco girl, she's a Mission girl. I mean, Victorian, she was raised in the Victorian architecture area there. All those homes are Victorian, and she fell in love with the building. My mom and dad knew nothing about Carson City, really nothing. My dad, you know, thinking about it, thought with the being the state capital is a great opportunity, just for that one reason alone. And so it was basically my mom's love for the building, what her perception of how she was going to make it hers. And so I think that's what's the impetus. Basically, they were California people,
Well, the thing that's amazing, and you're an interior designer in addition to all the other things you do, it was such a beautiful building.
Yes.
And the interior was so warm and cozy. My first experience there was with Guy Shipler, the Dean of Nevada Journalists, who had done an interview with me and invited me to come to lunch. And I knew nothing about Adele's beyond the name, and came in there and fell in love. And of course, I was in love for the entire time it existed. Who are some of the notable people that you, and I mean, the list is too long to say everybody, but name a couple of people that, go back to the early days that were just stalwarts of Adele's, because if you'd have put microphones under the tables, you could have blackmailed everybody.
Probably that was the case. Charlie's probably better to answer because he remembers names better than I do of some of the long times. Jim Joyce is one of them that I recall.
Legendary Nevada lobbyist.
Yeah.
Google him.
Yes, yes. And so, that name is prominent to me. And just going through my mind, Charlie, you can jump in here, some of the others that...
Well, speaking of Mr. Shipler, Guy Shipler, basically, Dad started a tradition of making a Ukrainian-style lamb borscht, okay? And that is actually a combination of my mom's recipe and his recipe. And Guy, every Thursday, would come in for lunch, and he would have a bowl of borscht, and, there's... so many, I love Guy. There was so much to love about him. He was a great man. And, this is where you get yourself in trouble. You go, well, you didn't mention, hey, what about Bonnie Bryant? She loved her bread pudding.
Some other dishes that celebrities liked, because our political figures in Nevada are celebrities. You go to the grocery store and you run into the governor. It's one of the pleasures of being here.
True.
Well, certainly Mr. Speaker Joe Dini, he was a consistent consumer of lamb, all things lamb. And being from Yarrington, is that a surprise?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Senator, Majority Leader of the Senate, Bill Raggio, liver. He kept coming in and he would have it and he loved it and things like that. And he says, one of these days, Charlie, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to push you aside, I'm going to show you how to really cook liver.
Governors. How far back do you go with governors?
Wow.
Bob
O'Callahan.
O'Callahan, okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorite human beings.
And what a character. He would call journalists at 5 o'clock in the morning and yell at them if he didn't like their stories.
Yeah.
I wish governors would do that today. I would welcome a phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's the thing about, people don't, of course, O'Callahan kind of made himself that way. He was a Carson guy,
Yeah.
So I can remember I was invited to do a dinner at the governor's mansion, and back in those days, you actually cook the dinner in the mansion's kitchen, and then you serve it there in the dining room, and then after the dinner was done, everybody left. O'Callahan comes in, and he goes, come on, Charlie, let's have a beer. So he invites me back to the Oval Office, and he takes off his prostheses, he's put his leg up, and he goes, one of these days we're going to fix up a real kitchen for you, Charlie. He was great, and and actually I think the first governor since O'Callahan that I can recall was Steve Sisolak, who started up what O'Callahan started. He used to do neighborhood barbecue once a year after the New Year's, and we'd get through the winter. He would have a barbecue in the backyard, and it would be open only to Carson City and the neighbors. So his first invitations would be to the neighbors around the governor's mansion. And I know Governor Sisolak did the same thing a few years back, and I was honored to help cook the hot dogs and the hamburgers and things like that. It's very grassroots oriented, just like O'Callahan did, you know. And I don't know, you know, I think, you know, today, you know, because of all the obvious security risks, you know, it would be nothing for me to be able to walk from the restaurant to the governor's mansion, around the back, in the back door, and talk to Helen, you know, without having,
Right.
you know, the sheriff's department or the Nevada State Police, you go, who are you?
Right, right.
You know.
And she ran the joint
Yeah.
for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Let's take another break and we'll come right back. More with the Abowds right after this timeout. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
Big R in Sparks is located on Bering Boulevard next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. It's a 50,000 square foot hardware store and a whole lot more. It's huge with clothing, power equipment, tools, and of course, hardware. Big R is located on Bering Boulevard in Sparks next to Smith's and opposite Reed High School. Big R. Hardware and a whole lot more.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
The book is Recipes and Rambles That Made Adele's a Nevada Hotspot, 40 Years of Cuisine and History as told by Chef Charlie Abowd, along here with Karen Abowd. And the profits, once the book is paid for, are all going to go to the Greenhouse
Yes.
Project. Was it cathartic writing this book?
I'm sorry.
Was it cathartic?
No.
As he says, he starts to tear up. How difficult? I mean, was it difficult? Was it pleasurable? You went back through a lot of history.
You know, I mean, I actually, you know, I think I was born to be at Adele's. It really was. I was. I mean, I was there. It was part of us. You know, I know when Karen and I purchased the restaurant from my mom and dad, that we set out to put, in fact, it was a quote from my dad, because I was talking to him about Well, I don't know, you know, people are going to say, well, that's not like how Paul did it. And he looked at me and he stopped me and he said, it's your book. Now you write it. And even though we had an Adele's at Reno at that time, you know, Dad would do his and I would do mine, and we were totally comfortable with that. And, you know, there would be some similarities, but there'd be a lot of differences too, you know, in our food and our cuisine style.
Well, the book, as I said, is Recipes and Rambles that made Adele's a Nevada hotspot, 40 years of cuisine and history, as told by you, Charlie. And you can get it from Barnes & Noble and Amazon, pre-order, look at Facebook, and you'll be able to keep up with the book signings. And I understand from what you told me before we started that the first book signing was insane. And I think you're going to have an incredible bestseller. Congratulations, and I can't wait to read the book.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Located in the heart of Carson City, the Bank Saloon is a historic watering hole with a modern feel. With a variety of classic cocktails featuring Nevada spirits, space for private events, conferences, and an incredible atmosphere, the Bank Saloon offers a great location to work and play. Come visit us. Located at the corner of 5th and Carson, we'll save you a drink.
With Nevada's only transplant center and verified burn center, the science is here. With award-winning cardiologist and the state's only dedicated heart failure clinic, the talent is here. With Nevada's most advanced robotic surgery, the technology is here. And with the Silver State's only designated pediatric trauma center, hope is here. All because we are here. UMC.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday, trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room at the Bank Saloon. Coverage of the 2023 legislative session is brought to you by Liberty Dental Plan, making members shine one smile at a time. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. The Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. And by Nevada Builders Alliance, building a better Nevada.
Our thanks to the Bank Saloon in Carson City and the Builders Alliance for their help with our coverage of the 2023 legislative session. We'll see you on the next broadcast.